What the fuck is up, bitches? It's your girl, Miranda. Welcome back to the Miranda Mindset. I'm doing this thing, for those of you who don't know, where I post videos of myself on YouTube and then use the audio for my podcast on Spotify. So if you would like to check me out, see my face, see what I look like, put a face behind the voice, feel free to do so. I will link all of the information for you in this description. But today, I wanted to talk to you about things that I've learned since moving to Arizona. Okay. I am from the Midwest, from the good old Illinois, corrupt Illinois. All right. Hey, at least it's not Indiana. No offense. So sorry if you're from Indiana watching this. But no, I wanted to kind of break down some things that I thought were so weird once I moved here that you might think are kind of interesting. So let's get started. First one, roaches here are fucking ginormous. Okay. This is kind of a weird one, but it's important to lead off with because before you move to Arizona, if you like watch other people's YouTube videos or you just hear horror stories, you'll hear a lot of things about like dangerous venomous snakes and insects and, scorpions. And I haven't seen any of those yet, but they are true. And something that I've noticed nobody talks about is the fucking roaches. I've seen them everywhere when I used to work at Planet Fitness, like saw them every day. They're literally over an inch to like 2 inches long and like a half an inch to an inch thick. They are just radioactive. And for the longest time, granted, this might not be based off facts, but for the longest time, I was like, why are they so big? I think it's because when we have winters in the Midwest, we're like, oh my God, I'm so happy all the mosquitoes are going to die off in the fall. And we're not going to have all these, cicada killers and bugs and stuff. Well, it's hot here all the time. The roaches never die. They just get bigger. I think that's my theory. Don't quote me on that. Next thing, there are such things as monsoons and haboobs. All right. Yeah, you heard me right. Monsoons are the rainstorms. Haboobs are the dust storms. Okay. Monsoons can be pretty disastrous here. But the funny thing is they're just kind of the equivalent of a severe thunderstorm. Sometimes not as bad, but because of the landscape here and because of the elements involved, it does wreak a lot of havoc. For example, trees here don't have as deep of a root system. So you'll drive past and winds might be like 40 miles per hour, but trees will be completely fallen over. And it's because the roots only go super wide and not very deep because it's hard to grow in non-nutrient rich soil. So that's always interesting. Also, they don't have a great drainage system here because it doesn't rain a lot in the desert. So when you drive into an area and you see a sign that says, be careful, flash flood warning, right? They mean it. Just turn around if you can, because there's not a good drainage system. You will drive through a good, few inches of water and your car will float away. So in terms of a haboob with the dust storm, it's interesting. It's hard to breathe. It burns your eyes. The dust doesn't feel like a grain of sand in your eye. At least I haven't experienced that yet, but it just feels like it burns. It stings. Like you sprayed some chemical in the air and your eyes kind of get the fumes from the chemicals. It's not fun. And it is also really hard to drive in. So you have to, in a haboob, pull over to the side of the road, park your car, turn off your lights, because if you keep your lights on, people are going to try and follow you through traffic. And that's how you get rear-ended. So turn off your lights. And that's how you stay alive is what they say. They always put it on these little signs on the highway. So moving on from that, people are crazy drivers. People are crazy drivers here. So you've got people from California who move here and they drive fast as fuck and they don't care about anything. And then you have people who have moved here who are snowbirds and they drive 30 miles an hour and they're just like blind as a bat. So you kind of have to be careful of that. Just go the speed limit and be reasonable. People will pull out, people will completely run red lights and they don't give a fuck. Yellow lights here are optional. Like yellow lights in Illinois, they end quick. It's yellow, boom, it's red. You know, you don't even have time to think. Versus here, it's like it's yellow, it's yellow, it's yellow, it's yellow, it's yellow, it's orange, it's not, now it's red. And they do that because they know people here are crazy drivers and they're going to run the yellow anyway. So why not make it like 30 seconds long? Also 115 is a normal temperature in the summer. You might be like, no shit, Miranda. Well, I'm not going to say I thought it was a lie, but I thought it would feel a whole lot different. It's a dry heat. Everyone says that. Dry heat my ass, right? It's still hot as balls. And you will get in your car and suffocate. It will take a really long time for your air to kick on because it's just kicking back hot air. When you're driving, when you're riding your bike, there is no cool breeze. The breeze is hot, okay? It is hot air coming at you to where you feel like a blanket is on you, okay? I don't like that feeling. So just keep that in mind. I used to have to work the morning shift at Planet Fitness, which means I have to be at work at 4 a.m. I got up at 3 a.m. and it was 98 degrees out. All right. So keep that in mind. Birds here, they sound super weird. I don't know how to explain this, but the birds in Illinois, from my recollection, have a lot lower of a tone, lower register. The birds here sound like a fire alarm, and they will love to run into your car. It doesn't matter. I don't know if they're having a heat stroke, but the birds here are weird. Okay, let's talk about fences around your house. I have seen very few places that have like a chain link fence. Everyone here has brick walls as their fence to their house, which coyotes, I have heard, like to climb up the 6-foot brick walls. I don't know how, but they do. The closer you live to the mountains, the more susceptible you are to wildlife getting in your backyard. So keep that in mind. I've also heard that baby scorpions will go up your drains in your kitchen and surprise you in the sink. You have to have UV lights to find them. So I and my parents, we went out and got all these UV flashlights. So if you're taking out your trash in the middle of the night, which I would never do, you have to go use the flashlight. So make sure when you open up the trash, when you look down and you step in the rocks, you're not stepping on scorpions. Also, shake your shoes out. Don't ever leave your shoes in the garage because scorpions will crawl in them. Spiders will crawl in them. And then you put on your shoe, you're fucked. So don't do that. And if you do, shake them out. Buildings here, they all look the same. Every single building is the same shade of beige. In Illinois, it's all like the same shade of light blue, dark blue type of deal. No. Here, everything is beige, which blends into the sand, which blends into the rocks. Everything's beige. Moving on, no basements, because some of you might be like, yeah, earthquakes, but also hard to build like full story houses on clay. Not to mention, it's just not stable. Like it's hot as balls. Everything is one level. You have a lot of ranch style homes. Next thing, there's trees here that are completely green. They look like the Giving Tree or whatever drawing it is, where the branches are green, the leaves are green, the trunk is green, Jolly Green Giant, everything is fucking green. There are more trees here than I thought, but they do not look like Midwest trees. They're all short and thin. Moving on, shopping here. It's either malls have a luxury shopping, I'm talking like Gucci, Prada, Balmain, or it's the fucking trenches, okay? Like I'm talking weird stores with taxidermy, one of my biggest fears. They love that out here. Like animal skins, like it's very eclectic or very bougie. It depends on the area, so do your research. There are a lot of food options here. You could probably go to a new place every single day. Sometimes you go to these places and like Filiberto's. I'll never go there again. Tried it once, not good. I heard it's a hit or miss. I've also heard that it is the standard from when you're hungover and you go to college here. Not all Mexican in Arizona is good Mexican food. And as a Mexican, I can say that it's just the truth. And I've learned that the hard way. And especially everything here is super expensive. Like, yes, if you really search, if you do, your research and pay your dues, you can find something that is reasonable. But like drinks here, when you go out, they're all $15. Like there is no Midwest. Oh, check it out. Happy hour, dollar drafts. No. It's going to be $4 or $5 drafts at least. There's not very good bus system here. Granted, I live in Gilbert, which is 20 minutes away from Tempe, like 20 minutes away from Phoenix, kind of 20 minutes away from everything. And at least in Gilbert, the bus system is not very good, if it even exists. It's just not. I came from Peoria, Illinois, so the bus system there is pretty decent. I've seen lots of people use it. I know people who have used it for years, and it's not granted the best system ever, but it's a lot more apparent than it is here. So keep that in mind. Everyone has a car. Let's talk about the rain being hot. Just like I said, breezes are hot. The rain is hot. There is no, I'm so happy for this to cool things down, because the humidity is normally like 20 to 30%. Well, when it rains, it goes up to like 65%, 70 or higher. And then you've got the heat on top of it. So it's just not a fun time. But I will say, you only have to tan for a very short amount of time. In Illinois, especially as a teenager, I listened to Lana Del Rey's album, and it would take me the entire album to tan, and I felt like I was getting nowhere. I would spend the first half of the album on my back and then the other half flip over on my stomach, and it got me nowhere. Versus here, I tan 10 minutes on one side, 10 minutes on the other side, and I am tan. Okay, probably not great for my skin, but I do what I got to do. I do wear sunscreen, so don't come for me. It's hard to blow your nose here. I told this to some people who came over and hung out with me at my house the other day, and they looked at me like, you are insane. But it's true. Going from somewhere you live with humidity and you're used to moisture being in the air, if you want to blow your nose, bitch. Coming here, good luck. That shit is like crystallized rocks. Okay. You have a hard time blowing that shit out because it can cut you on the way out. It's hard. I only really noticed this when I went back and I was showering and I like was able to actually breathe for once. So yeah, keep that in mind. I don't think I have to tell very many people this. It's a red state. If you know, you know. If you're a woman who is, that's where I'm gonna leave it at. And if the girls that get it, and the girls that don't. Summer is like winter here. You stay inside. Winter in the Midwest, it's like negative 10 degrees out. They're like, don't go outside unless you have to. Same here. Same for the summer. Heat stroke is a serious thing. Heat exhaustion. You just don't want to do it. So don't. Let's talk about the McChicken. My sister specifically put this bullet point on the list. The McChicken does not exist here. They only have the spicy McChicken in our area. Cecilia is very upset about that. She would like the public to know. Amazon, they get here insanely fast. I have heard that it's because they have a lot of warehouses here in Arizona. Don't know that to be a fact, but when my dad orders something from Amazon, it usually gets here within like the next day, or the day after. So the whole 4-day, 5-day shipping, nah, sweetie, it's going to come quick. Let's talk about the outdoor airports. And this is also really weird. So when I went to the Mesa airport, I think it was outdoors. You land on the tarmac and then you get out with this long ladder that they have, this ramp, and it's not connected to the airport. And you walk down the tarmac, and then you go indoors to a building, and then you go outdoor into a courtyard, and then you go indoors again, and then you go outdoors. So it's kind of this mix of like outdoor seating, indoor, if you want to have air conditioning moment. My mom had to coach me through that before I went. So I wasn't like, why are we getting off the plane and we haven't pulled up to a gate? Nah, they're going to drop you off on the asphalt. Let me try and think about anything else. Yeah, it's just a lot. It's a lot. Moving to any place that you haven't been before, there's going to be some shock value. But coming here, it's like going from one extreme to another. In the Midwest, everybody jokes about, oh, weather's so extreme, you know? It would be nice today if it wasn't for the 70 miles per hour wind. It would be nice today if it wasn't, 30 degrees below, whatever. And it can be all 4 seasons in one day in Illinois. Here, it's just hot. And you have to do what you got to do to work around that. If you're somebody who hates the heat, obviously don't come here. If you're somebody who's like, I'm okay with not having a real summer and then the rest of my year being summer, then come here. But it's definitely a little bit, a little emo, because I see all my friends back in Illinois and they're like, chilling at the lake, or they get to do all these fun stuff. And I'm like, I wish that was me. But then while they're suffering, they're going to wish they were me. So it's a trade-off. But that's what I've got for you guys this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Love you always, your Randa.